I realized I've never made a full video about every character in the Amazing Digital Circus, what we know about them, and what Gooseworx has said about them. So here's a video covering everything we know about each character in the Amazing Digital Circus. Enjoy and leave a like. Starting with Pomney. She's 25 years old, and her name means remember or don't forget in Russian, which Gooseworx confirmed at MomoCon 2024. The name Kane tried to give her before skipping it was XDDCC, which decodes to get out through a Caesar cipher. So her coded name is telling her to leave, and her actual name is telling her to remember. She was originally designed to look like a frog because Gooseworx wanted her to be the character the audience relates to. But at some point, she realized the design should connect to the circus, so she scrapped the frog and made her a jester instead. And during development, Pomney and Jax were gender swapped. Pomney was supposed to be the boy, and Jax was supposed to be the girl, and Gooseworx changed it before the pilot came out. Gooseworx identified Pomney's drink order during the bar adventure as a Negroni, which is a bittersweet Italian cocktail. Bittersweet is an interesting word, because that's also the word Gooseworx used to describe the ending of the Amazing Digital Circus. And the Italian connection is interesting too, because it links Pomney to Pagliacci, the famous sad clown from Italian opera. She has a rubber body that stretches and deforms in cartoon ways similar to Jax, and she's one of the two main characters of the show alongside Jax, which Gooseworx confirmed on a stream in February 2026. Now Jax. He's 22 years old, and Gooseworx designed him specifically to match everything she personally likes in characters. She said he couldn't not be my favorite because I designed him to be everything I like in characters, and then added, I like terrible characters. He's based on Popey from Popey the Performer, which is one of the shows that inspired Gooseworx to create TADC. And when someone asked if Jax was similar to Popey, she said, kind of. He's a hugely impulsive dentquad, but he has a little more depth than Popey that is explored way later down the line. He chose his own name when he entered the circus, and he probably also named Gangle. Gooseworx said on Tumblr that nobody in the circus liked Jax at first, but over time, everyone got used to him, especially because his relationship with Pomney evolved throughout the series. He never brushes his teeth, and that's why they're yellow. He keeps gardening mulch in his pocket for no explained reason, and he gets drunk after a single drink. He also loves spaghetti. The song that describes him, according to Gooseworx, is Don't Fence Me In from the Bone Lab soundtrack. I can't put the music for obvious copyright reasons, but here are the connections that make the most sense. The song is about someone who hates feeling trapped and just wants to go wherever they want without anything above them, which matches Jax pretty well considering how he spends most of his time acting like the rules of the circus don't apply to him. And the title itself is also interesting, because the characters are stuck inside the circus, while Jax acts like he's the only one not taking any of it seriously. Gooseworx also confirmed that Jax is suicidal. His ears spin like a propeller when he holds his breath, and he can fly, but nobody in the show has ever seen him do it because he never holds his breath in front of anyone. His drink order in the bar adventure is a whiskey sour without egg whites because Kane made him temporarily vegan that day. On the wackywatch.com, the only two people Jax lists as friends are Pomney and Kinger, not Ragatha or anyone else. And he apparently vomits when he's scared, which is maybe why he went to the bathroom at the end of episode 6. And I'm sorry, but knowing that makes the scene 10 times funnier, because bro was potentially about to abstract, and his first thought was still to find a place where he could throw up in peace. When fans kept asking about his sexuality, Gooseworx went on Twitter and confirmed in separate replies that Jax is asexual. A lesbian, straight and cis, pansexual, Pomney, non-binary and bi, deeply closeted, is Filipino, is 5'11", is 25 feet tall, and is exclusively sexually attracted to bowling pins. Ashley Nichols, who voices Zubul, was dating Michael Kovac, the voice of Jax, in real life, but they later broke up amicably. Ragatha is 30 years old, which makes her the second oldest human in the circus after Kinger, and she's been there since October 2008. Which means she entered during the financial crisis, and she was working in real estate before that. Her original name during development was Emmy. She's the only character in the entire cast who has a nose. Every other character doesn't have one. Gooseworx said she's the least fun to draw out of all the main characters, and her design is a reference to the 1977 animated movie Raggedy Ann and Andy. Gooseworx has said multiple times she has an unhealthy obsession with that film. She was supposed to have plush organs inside her body, but it got cut during development. Gooseworx confirmed on Tumblr that Ragatha likes horses, she can see through her button eye so she's not blind on that side, she also loves horror movies, and petting cats is one of the few things that makes her genuinely happy. Her family is wealthy and owns a large property with horses and chickens, and she grew up on an isolated ranch with an abusive mother whose main hobbies were yelling and guilt tripping. She's a big fan of softball, and she has a fear of centipedes, which Gooseworx gave her because Gooseworx herself is afraid of centipedes in real life. Ragatha apparently never saw or heard of Breaking Bad, even though she entered the circus in October 2008, and the first season had already finished airing that year. And Gooseworx said that Ragatha says things she doesn't necessarily mean if she thinks it'll ease tensions. She also kept the stupid sauce from the episode 4 Fast Food Adventure, and Zubul asked her about it in episode 6. Gangle is 26 years old, and before entering the circus, she wanted to become a mangaka, but eventually had to give up on that dream and work a full-time fast food job instead. She's technically died more times than any other main character in the show, with 5 fatal injuries across the series. In episode 4, she gets hit by a truck. In episode 5, Jack shoots her. Later in the same episode, she explodes with the rest of the group after a bomb is strapped to her chest. In episode 6, Pomney snipes her in the head. And in episode 8, she gets hit by a truck again. Marissa Lenti, who voices her, auditioned for every single character in the show except Pomney before landing the role. Gooseworx said Zubul and Gangle would be good for each other, which is the closest she's ever come to acknowledging any ship in the show. And Marissa Lenti joked during a panel that Gangle's body pillow is a Ragatha. Gangle draws romantic art of 2 girls in her free time. Her comedy mask acts like an antidepressant. Gangle wanting to work as an artist, but having to give up her dreams to work at a fast food restaurant. Zubul is 22.5 years old, only 6 months older than Jax, and was one of the first characters Gooseworx designed, and her favorite to design. Their design is based on Zolo toys from the 90s, but the name comes from Zubs, which is a completely different toy from the 2000s. Before the circus, Zubul was a bartender and a tattoo artist, and Jax knows this and uses it to tease them. Zubul swaps their body parts almost every single day, and in almost every episode they show up with completely different pieces. But in episode 8, they kept the same parts for several days because Kane's torture left them so drained they couldn't even be bothered to change them. Ashley Mickles was considered for either Pomney or Zubul before being cast as Zubul. Zubul is both the first and second character to ever swear in the show. The first time happens in the pilot's Polish dub when they say, "Kinger, you mother," and because the insult comes at the beginning of the sentence in Polish, the censorship cuts in too late, technically making it the first real swear word in TADC. The second time happens at the end of episode 8 after Kane's censor filter breaks. Kinger is 48 years old, making him the oldest member of the circus, and he's been trapped there since 1999, meaning he had already spent 18 years inside the circus by the time the show takes place in 2017. He spent 7 years studying computer science before building Kane at CNA with Scratch. Queenie, his wife, gave him his love of insects, and he talks about his bug collection constantly. He can detach parts of his body, and his hands stretch infinitely without breaking. Gooseworx described his role in the group as understanding that relationships are two-sided, and he's the one who tells Ragatha in episode 6 that giving someone space doesn't mean giving up on them. Kane's age has never been confirmed by Gooseworx, making him the only main character without an official age. But he created the circus in 1996. He named himself because his creators at CNA never gave him one. He just took what he is, a creative artificial intelligence networking entity, and used the first letters to make Kane because he thought it would make him look more professional. He doesn't know the internet exists. He falls for every single verbal prank every single time, and even if someone explains the joke to him, he takes it literally and falls for it again next time. Gooseworx said he's not a villain, but an antagonist. He doesn't mean harm, but he causes harm. Alex Roshan said Kane's last words before getting cut off were going to be something like, "Wait, what have I done?" He's the second hardest character to animate after Gangle because his teeth have to do lip sync and facial expressions at the same time. And Michael Kovac's favorite character in the show isn't Jax, it's Kane. Bubble is voiced by Gooseworx herself. Bubble is constantly pregnant and says, "I'm having a baby" in the show.
I'm having a baby.
When someone asked Gooseworx where Bubble goes when he gets popped, she said, "You don't want to know." He knows every verbal prank, unlike Kane, who falls for all of them. He's also based on a virus called Bubble Boy. Like and comment if you enjoyed. Bye!